I'm reading a creator-owned comic every day for a week, and today I read The Shadow Kingdom, which is an adaptation of the original Robert E. Howard text, done by Randy Zimmerman with art by Russ Leach. First off, check out this gorgeous cover here. I'm not actually sure who did the cover. Let's check that out. Cover piece, cover pencil, finished by Marco Frere. Either way. So you got Russ and Marco on that one. Beautiful, beautiful cover. And let's just jump right into it. I've never read any Robert E. Howard story before. I have previously read a Kull story from these guys, which is actually a follow-on to this, which is why I went back and grabbed this one because I enjoyed it so much. I didn't even realize this one was going to be colored, but it's got these gorgeous flats on it. Let me check that. It looks like, Russ did everything here. Did all the art and the colors, which is beautiful. We'll get into it in a second. So I think being an adaptation, like it has the text at the back, and the text is the same. So what I'm guessing is when they say an adaptation is they take the text from the original text, and then they adapt that into, comic book graphic novel form here and decide what they want to depict and everything. The later ones, I think they are stories by Randy based on these characters. So that's what we're working with here. It's a big, long book. It took me quite a long while to read this. Not only is it long, but it's just, jam-packed with text and everything. But I thoroughly enjoyed it straight away. I'm drawn into this world. If you're not familiar with Kull, he is a guy who lives, pre the sinking of Atlantis. It's this mythical past that may or may not have existed at some point in the far, far distant past. This is like prehistory. Anyway, Kull is a new king of this place, and you'll have to forgive me with the names. I'm terrible with names, but he's he is the king of a new of a kingdom. He is a new king of a kingdom. It's actually an old kingdom, and interesting. All you really need to know is he's very pensive about it. He is a warrior, and he found it very easy to win the kingdom, but the whole story is about it may be easy to win a kingdom, but it's very difficult to hold on to it. That's sort of the crux of the story here. And straight away we meet Brule, which is his sort of partner in crime that we know from later books. They don't hit it off in classic, partner fashion. They're about to, they want to kill each other straight away. And we know in later stories they end up becoming, the best of friends and companions. But anyway, Kull finds himself in this world of truly, truly ancient. How could I put this? Like Game of Thrones, like it like really very ancient enmity among different people, tribes, and even races and species of beings, which we'll get into eventually. I mean, I guess I don't mind spoiling this, considering it's a very old story. But he gets a warning by this old fella here that he is essentially on borrowed time, and the attacks are about to come. And they do happen very quickly. We get a little sense here as he's walking through the town here that people are watching him with ill intent. And not to go too much through the story, but what they end up is Brule joins him and shows him all of these secret passageways that he was unaware of in his own castle. And they're being used for nefarious reasons and dark black magic, and we find out that it's, when I say really ancient, I mean super ancient. Look, he kills this guy here, and it turns out he's actually like a snake man or a lizard man of some kind. So that's the enemy, and then essentially the rest of the story is Kull and Brule figuring out how they're going to be able to kill these people, because they can shapeshift into anyone. Actually, at one point, one of them even shapeshifts into Kull, and Brule as well, and he has to figure that out. But so yeah, it goes through this really ancient history Obviously there's a really big, long, deep lore here that, you know, they're kind of covering here. And yeah, you know, and that's the adventure of the story. And you read the book and find out what happens and how they go on and everything. I will say I find this writing very charming. You know, it's quite antiquated at this point, the verbiage and the way it's written, but I love that. And you know, knowing from future stories that I've read from Randy, he's continued on that style of talking. I'm not exactly sure when Robert E. Howard was, you know, writing these stories. I think he was the original, you know, the original Sword and Sorcery man. So it must be, you know, quite a long while ago. But I really do, you know, even it's a lot. It's not like reading a modern comic where there's, you know, just little bits to read here and there. This is a big, long, hefty, thick read, and but like I said, very enjoyable. I didn't know Kull before I jumped into this. I found these guys' books, and I was brought to it through Russ Leach's art, which I will also about to get into. But I've really come to enjoy this world and this story and the language they speak, and yeah, like I really can't recommend this enough. It's printed on this. It's not quite the old school Baxter paper, but it's close enough. It's this very nice uncoated stock, which really makes these colors by Russ pop. And they look like they're flats, but they're not actually. He does actually do a fair amount of shading and highlighting in there. It's just very subtle. But when it comes to this Bronze Age style, this sort of, you know, revival of this previously popular look, there's no one, you know, you want to go to more than Russ Leach. He really is a phenomenal talent when it comes to this sort of thing. The way the pages were laid out, he really utilizes a lot of white space on a lot of pages to make things pop like that. I mean, the figure work, the storytelling, it's just A+ all around from Russ. So I can't I back basically anything that Russ puts out at this point. He really is a diamond in the rough when it comes to, you know, art in crowdfunder comics. So that is Shadow Kingdom. Big recommend from me. And also I'll be reading the Atlantean, the second one, later on in the month. So look forward to that. But I will have a new one tomorrow. Until then, I hope you have a good day. Bye.